Welcome to EntreNetwork, brought to you by Revision Marketing Group. This podcast is meant to serve as an entrepreneurial knowledge base of wisdom and practical tips in marketing, branding, and technology to help grow your business effectively.
So welcome to the EntreNetwork podcast. Thank you so much for coming on. We'll talk about website design and just some tips and tricks on how you can push traffic to your website in a free way, and also we'll probably touch on paid, but we'll stick to free. But before we get into all of that, just kind of introduce yourself. Who is Mikayla?
Oh gosh, who is she? I don't even know. Okay, so my name is Mikayla Anderson. I am 22 years old. I'm originally from St. Francis, Minnesota, which is about an hour out of the Twin Cities. Went to college in North Dakota, met my now husband, Trevor, who works at Barksdale Air Force Base, hence why I'm in Louisiana right now.
Yep, Louisiana.
And yeah, beautiful mother of Charlie, and that's it.
That's
so
for now.
Oh my gosh, no, of Charlie.
Yeah, the dog. So with that, how did you get into website design?
Wow. Okay, so this is a story. So I got into website design because my professor assigned me a project to do a active community service for the community, obviously. And what I did, it was hard because COVID was happening, right? And so it was like one of my last projects for my senior capstone class. And I was like, okay, what is going to be the easiest way to get out of this assignment? Mm-hmm. And so what I did was I made a website for my friend who does film, and that way he can share his stuff that he does with the community. So it's kind of like a playoff. But with that, I was able to create his website, and he got in contact with a couple other of his friends who were looking for websites. Kind of went into a whole thing of me just being naturally okay with it, I guess. I loved being able to just go in and dive right into it and just free flow my creativity, and people loved it. So that's about it. And then I came to Shreveport, applied to a website designer job. And this was after I've made like 3 websites in my entire life. And Sydney was like, okay, yeah. So that was a very interesting time of my life. But we're here, and probably like 30 websites under my belt by now.
Yeah, so it's been a lot. It's been super aggressive within the last 9 months. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have done a lot of websites, and it's been a lot of constant improvement and learning.
Absolutely.
So for me, my experience with just like website design or development comes from it comes from school. So when I first built a website, or was like the liaison for a website, it was in Natchitoches, Louisiana, where I went to school for computer information systems. So this incredible woman named Janice Bolton, she acquired this other business. She was a real estate broker. And I was in charge of coming up with the website or interfacing with the company that produced the website. So it was this big conglomerate website designer kind of thing, where they specialized in real estate websites. So I was in charge of the overall technical piece. So it was mostly just kind of like plug and play. They already had the systems. We had to figure out the DNS records and how to map a domain over there and stuff like that.
All technical talk over here.
Extremely technical stuff. But that's how I got into website design. And then I tested my hand in just website development and design. And then I hired you because I sucked at it.
Yes.
But with that, I was able to come up with different okay designs. For me, I'm more so focused on the functionality of it, as you know, but in the technical side of it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a lot. And me and Sydney, I don't want to say we bump heads, but I'm like, oh, this would be a really cool design. He's like, but is it functional?
Yeah.
And so it's always a good balance because I think a lot of my creativity is all over the place. And I'd be like, oh, is this blah, 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 blah. But like realistically, is it possible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Most times it's super possible within a certain program.
Yeah.
So once you get into like super complex websites as far as design wise, it's extremely hard to duplicate that on social media.
Absolutely.
So we preach like brand consistency. So it has to be somewhat simple where we can duplicate it on social. And then once we get into like video production, we can take some of those elements and make everything consistent across the overall brand. Once you get into complicated designs on social media and you hand it off to me and you say, hey, can we do a graphic or website? Well, not a website, a video production that has these elements. I'm going to look like, I can't because I'm just not at that skill level yet. But
no,
yeah.
You are at the skill level. It's just time. It's time. So that's the biggest thing. Like, as far as like the tools and resources you use, that's the biggest thing that I've learned at Revision is you can spend 4 hours looking at one page and perfecting it to what you want it to be. But realistically, is this what the client's going to want? And I've learned my lesson many of times. So
yeah, it's always a balance though, right? Because you have the expertise of what's going to actually convert as a website, and then a client has expertise in understanding their target audience, but not specifically selling to them on a website, right? So it's somewhat of a clash at times, but I think we have found a good balance of trade-offs in a sense.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So questions. So this one is going to be more so about websites and how you can push traffic to your website in an organic way. So what is one of the biggest ways to push traffic to a website?
Yeah. So as far as like the first beginning steps of you getting a website, like you can make a beautiful website. It can be super functional. Like people can book appointments on there. They can contact you, all of these different things, and it can be amazing, right? But the biggest thing is people don't understand the commitment you need to put into pushing traffic to the website, because otherwise it's just sitting there and you're not getting any inquiries or you're not getting any like traction on it. And so the first and easiest thing I would say, but also is like pretty dense, is going to be the social media. Yep. And so making sure that like in your bio on Instagram, you have your website linked there. On Facebook, the same thing. And then I also recommend with like Google Business that you have that there too.
Yeah, funny story. They're actually changing or rebranding that.
What?
Yeah, I seen it on LinkedIn. It's something different. It's not going to be Google My Business. I don't know what it is though.
Interesting.
It is interesting.
It's going to be very weird. Is it going to have like different functionalities?
I'm not sure.
Oh my God.
I just seen the high level headline, but yeah. So social media is a really big one, and even with like the social media posts, of course you have like the bio and everything, but social media posts, of course, you want to have some kind of call to actions. Hopefully not on every single post, but on those ones that you want to push, you can push those people to the website.
Right. Exactly. And like that also goes back to like personal branding too, because personal branding as a brand, you want to make sure that you're still like creating that audience and making sure that you're talking to them and benefiting that community. But you don't want to be like, schedule a consultation like every single post, because then they're just going to see you as super salesy, like that you just want to have people give you money and all of these different things. So balancing it with either like different humor, like showcasing a different teammate on your team, or even like sharing a local company that does the same thing as you, just being like, oh, this just opened down the street, like we did this for them, or yeah.
Yes. So with that, we are probably touching on some of the marketing and branding language that we use, like on not the podcast, but on some of our events that we do. And with that, so touching on it briefly, for social media, it's super important to understand that you have an overall funnel. So the people, when you're trying to sell, like, hey, schedule a consultation, that's more bottom of the funnel. So a lot of people are not going to be in that stage, right? So a lot of people are going to be more so in the awareness stage. So that kind of content is different. It's not so much as salesy. It's, hey, this is what we provide, or hey, our brand pretty much exists. So for revision, it's like, hey, did you know this happened? Or hey, we have a team takeover highlight. So people can see our face, understand what services we provide. So once they are into the buying stage, or they're into, or they have a budget for like just marketing or branding, then they know that we exist. And then the bottom of the funnel, the conversion, saying, hey, schedule a consultation, is more applicable to that specific person.
Absolutely.
So I understand that is super important. But the second one for getting more traffic to your website is something called backlinks. So this is, well, it's not technical, but it fits into SEO strategy. So search engine optimization, so gaining backlinks to help with SEO and boost authority with Google and rank higher in the search engines, which is SEO.
Right.
So with backlinks, it's important to get different backlinks on your website or to your website. So a backlink is basically, so for Revision Marketing Group, we talked to KSLA, which is a local news station. So with that, they create a post on their website, and they do a backlink, which is a link back to Revision Marketing Group. So the more of those that you have, the more traffic, hopefully, that you'll be able to get from people, or that people that goes to that website and they click on a link and go back.
Yeah. It sounds technical, but it really isn't, because the biggest thing is when people have me do their websites, they're always like, how, like, they say SEO, but I don't think they understand what SEO is really, because SEO, to put it simply, is you're ranking Google and making sure that like it's optimized to what the search person is looking for.
Yeah, specific keywords.
Yeah. So marketing, branding, technology, website design, all that stuff.
Which are extremely competitive keywords.
Yes. I mean, very, very.
So for us to try to rank for those specific keywords across the United States is going to be tough. So with that, just going to SEO, it would probably be better for us to rank for something like marketing companies in Shreveport, that specific, somewhat long tail keyword, where someone searches it in Shreveport, and hopefully we rank first. But with that, it's an overall strategy to actually do that, right? You have to dress up the website and have those keywords embedded within that, and also have the titles to the applicable keyword. And it's
all technical. But as going back to backlinks, like making sure that, let's say you do like a paid advertising campaign to get people to sign up for your services or purchase a different thing on your website. You want to make sure it's always, 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 please, linked to your website, because if it's linked to your YouTube, a specific Facebook post, there isn't going to be a lot of analytics that you're going to be able to grab from to see that, like, okay, what pages how long were they on the page? What pages did they click on after? And did they actually convert? Like, did they book a service with me? And so you'll also be able to see the success rate within like your analytics tools that you have on your website which is like a whole different thing.
Yes, it is. With analytics, of course, I am the analytics guy because I just love the numbers and the overall conversion events. So with that, it's important to push traffic to the website as much as possible because, one, you can track those people. So if they go to the website and you have the analytical tools such as Facebook Pixel, and then Google Analytics, you can retarget these people. If you have a paid advertising campaign, you can retarget people who visited the homepage or the contact page, or they visited the contact page, but they didn't convert to contact, where they didn't like fill out the form or something like that. You can retarget those people on these different platforms, which is crucial. You can do this also inside of Facebook. And some of the pages on YouTube, but your website is going to give you a lot of information. But Facebook, along with all of the other social media platforms, do as well. But it's important to try to consolidate as much as possible. And that should be the website, which leads us into the next one, which is going to be more so talking about the overall paid advertising campaign. So this is something that we'll touch on briefly because it's not a strategy for everybody. But if you're looking to get
a lot of traffic in a very short amount of time.
Correct. You can do paid advertising. So that can be on Facebook, that can be on LinkedIn, pretty much any platform you choose, as long as you understand the overall target audience and where they kind of propagate. And then you can push that traffic to your website, but be strategic about it. So you have something called search ads, which is on Google. This is going to be probably the most expensive, where you pay upwards of $5, $10, $15 per click. That's not an actual conversion. That's paying per click to go to your website. And with that, you have to be strategic because you have high intent people. So say, for instance, you have a plumber, and that plumber, so let's say me, I just bust a pipe in my house or something like that, and I'm looking for a plumber. So it's like, hey, emergency. I search up plumber services that can come out same day, because that's the most important thing. I have a specific pain point, and I need somebody to come out as soon as possible. So that is an extremely high intent. So we talked about the overall funnel. So I am at the bottom of the funnel. I don't care about the awareness stage or the consideration stage. I have a specific pain point that I need met. So if a local plumber is doing search ads for those specific keywords, and I see it, and it appeals to me in my specific situation, I'll click on it, probably give them a call, and then pay for that service. So they may pay $20, $30, $35 per click for that, because on the back end of it, they can make 2 or 3 times that. Well, hopefully a lot more than that. But you get the point where you pay to play in a sense, but it does have a return on investment if you do it strategically. With display ads on Google anyway, it's different. It's these people are not actively looking for a specific service, right? But they may have interest in something. So say, for instance, I looked at a plumbing service or something like that because I anticipate needing it, or I'm building a house and I'm looking for a plumber, contractor, or something like that. So I do some research. I'm not in the buy-in stage yet, but if I go to someone's website, then they can retarget me with display ads, which pop up all over Google,
Facebook,
So
everything.
it pops up pretty much everywhere. But when you go to different websites outside of the social media ones, most times it's like Google Ads, which is called AdSense. AdSense.
Yeah. So when you see Facebook displaying, like if I'm looking for a new phone case and I see phone cases all over my Facebook page, that's because of AdSense. Because
well, wait, one more time. Well, with that one is that's the internal Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Because they have a platform, and then outside of like LinkedIn and outside of Facebook, you have Google.
Yeah.
Pretty much just Google as the big player. So say, for instance, if we got enough traffic to our website, we would be able to place we can't now, but it wouldn't make sense because we wouldn't get any money from it because we don't have enough traffic. But if we place the AdSense embed code on there, they would be able to display different ads. And people pay from that, from specifically the Google network. But yeah, so that's extremely dense information, but
yeah, it's definitely pay per play though. Like, yeah.
Yeah, so Mikayla, she doesn't like pay for play. But it's an important business strategy, especially if you're just starting up and you need as much awareness as you can, and you have money to invest. Yeah. And then you have some kind of horizon to see a return on investment, because you have to test and test and test and then reconfigure. So it pays off in the long run, not necessarily the short run. Yeah. So the next one is guest blogging.
And content.
Yeah. So which one first?
So, well, I guess they kind of go hand in hand, though, because with these, the biggest thing is when you have a website, you want to make sure that you have enough content on the page that Google reads it as like it's not spam. And they also can see those keywords, and they can also see like, okay, Shreveport, website designers, paid ads, XYZ, and of course boosting your SEO. But with content, it also helps you, because if I, like in Sydney's situation, was looking for a plumber, and if it's something super specific, I'm actually going through a situation right now with plumbing where if I'm looking for somebody who needs to put locks on my outdoor faucets, which I am, I want to see that on your website, that you offer that. And if you have that on your website, that's amazing, because I am one step closer to consideration and going to the bottom of the funnel, because otherwise I would have to call you or email you, and then you don't pick up or don't respond. Like, I'm already at the next person at that point. And so that also goes hand in hand with like the guest blogging, because so guest blogging is very interesting, because let's say for us, we have someone do a blog on our website who's pretty well known in Shreveport, and they write a blog on our website. And so let's say, who's somebody that's really well known in Shreveport?
ABC.
ABC.
So yeah, ABC has this super big audience, and they do a guest blog on our website, and then from their audience, people come to our website for traffic,
right?
And we get that traffic, which allows us to do like upsells or retarget those people, or have a call to action at the bottom, like, hey, download this free downloadable that relates to this topic that the guest blog post is about, and it adds more value, which then puts them into our overall funnel, and shoots them off to the email marketing campaign where we nurture that relationship, give them insight into us, so on and so forth, and then all with the hopes to convert them. Right. And if they don't convert, well, hopefully they know who,
someone that will convert.
They know someone who would, right? But all of that is the overall marketing strategy. So that's guest blogging. But the content strategy, that's more so looking at the overall funnel too. So that's the awareness stage, and with content, this can be pretty much anything and everything. So you can have content such as blogs. So that's going to be one of the critical ones, because of course with SEO, it allows you to rank higher, especially if you have a strategic SEO strategy. So after that, if you have a blog on your website and people are going to it, or you're sharing it on social and people go to it, then you have the ability for people to read it, one. But at the bottom of the page, you can have a call to action saying, hey, fill out this newsletter, or hey,
subscribe.
Precisely.
Free consultation, different things like that.
Yeah, so with that, if a local plumber, or mostly probably like a national plumber or something like that, that had different offices within smaller cities, a strategy for them would be looking for specific identifiers that someone is in the process of purchasing a home, right? So with that, they would create content or have a content strategy like, hey, these are 5 big things that you need to look out for when closing on a house.
Yes.
Right? So from that, if Mikayla would have seen that and she's like, oh, I'm closing on a house, and then read it, and then she's seen that, hey, you may need spigot locks, or is that right? Spigot locks?
Faucet locks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or, hey, you need to make sure you check underneath the sink to make sure that everything is tight. So once they turn on the water, this is one of the biggest things. I don't know, but this is one of the biggest things that new home owners just kind of go through, so on and so forth. So that's brand awareness. So she isn't ready to convert, but they would be top of mind once she's like, oh crap, I need somebody to call to fix this thing.
Well, and then not only that, I may, see them as a trustworthy source because they're giving me all of this information that I never would have thought of, and been like, dang, that's a really good point, like XYZ. And then I might go through the thought process of like, I don't got time to do that. Let me book a consultation. You said it's free. Let's see what your numbers are. Yeah. Because I don't have time to do that. My husband doesn't have plumbing knowledge. I don't have plumbing knowledge. Like, I don't want to screw anything up. Like, let's just book a consultation and see what it all entails and go from there. But, yeah, it's a lot. And the content is so important because people can put something so good on the page, but realistically, people hate to read. And I'm so sorry to say that because it's really true. And the biggest thing is you want to have bite-sizable content where if somebody's really interested, it's enough, but it's not like they're reading the entire Bible. And so, like, you want to have the call to action. So if they are looking for more, you can provide that. So it's not just like, okay, I'm kind of left open-handed, like, now what? Kind of thing, and making it super easy with like a button or like simply entering your email and pressing enter. Like, make it easy as pie for people. Otherwise, they're just gonna be like, "Oh, that's too much work," and like,
yeah, yes and no. So every target audience is different. So some people don't like to read, but if you have a situation where you want to increase that barrier, like, hey, we don't want the tire kickers, and we want people invested, so you can go ahead and do the long form content. And if they are invested in it, they're knowledgeable, because the biggest thing is just providing value, as much value as possible. So whatever medium that is, whether it's a video, a podcast, a blog post, it doesn't truly matter the length of it, unless you're planning for SEO, which sometimes it does, because you have to get
so much.
So
yeah.
So that's a process too, because with blog posts, sometimes you get all of the value, right? But it's within this extremely long blog, which is somewhat strategic. If you can find a blog post that doesn't have like fluff and fluffy words, and it just gets to the meat and potatoes, it probably wouldn't be 2,000 words. It would probably be 500. But you also have to play to the search engines in a sense. But
it's a good balance.
Somewhat, yeah.
Sometimes,
yes. So with that, it's also important to have some kind of summary up top, and have your blog to be skimmable, especially if it's extremely long form.
Right.
And then a video recapping that would be good too, because people who are on the fly, you have that content to kind of be able to push.
Which you can share on your social media to link to your website.
Yep, and link to the actual blog where if people are invested and they want to read and slow down, and they can do all of that. And also with blogs, touching on just content, this is probably a episode by itself because content, geez, it's so dense.
So much content.
But with blogs, if you're not blogging, most likely you should because
start now.
Yeah, we got into this as far as like the strategic blogging and just jotting down different ideas because with content, you have to get it out on paper because that's where like the video production comes in. That's where us doing different marketing events along with seminars and stuff like that, and even a podcast. You have to kind of jot down what you want to talk about. So with that, you can do that within like a blog easily. Or if you're in the process of doing like a podcast, you can talk about it. And then from this content, you can create a blog because we use something called Outer, which transcribes all of the content here. So if you don't like to write,
talk, and then
you can talk and then do that, and then you have that long form content, and you well, this is long form too, but you have that long form content that helps you in SEO, and then this audio would help us with Spotify and Anchor, and then the video content will help us with social media along with YouTube, right? So you have all of this content that you can play off of, and it can be multi-purpose into different things.
Right. And then it also plays to like the different audiences though too, because if I'm someone who primarily likes to listen and I'll just play the video and like do whatever I need to do rather than sitting there and reading it, that's very much me. Rather than Sydney, are you more of a reader?
Sometimes when it's physical. Yeah.
Okay.
When it's physical.
Okay. So yeah, you have the different audiences where people either prefer to read blog posts over their lunch or while they're doing different things like during the workday, they'll listen to podcasts, different things like that. And it helps.
Yeah.
A lot.
Because I like long form content or long form text content on LinkedIn a lot because they dive into, well, and it's also a video, right? So they talk about everything within a video, but the text content is there too. So most times I'm looking at it and I don't want to hear people, but I can see them actually talking and I can skim through the text content that summarizes the video. So that's a really powerful way to, well, get me, right? But everybody is different, so you want to kind of understand your target audience and see which approach you want to go with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so this was incredible.
One more.
Shoot.
Internal links.
That is correct. So internal linking. So this also plays into the SEO. It gives you somewhat of a boost on SEO. It just depends on how many pages you have and how many links and if it's people are actually clicking on it. But internal linking is pretty much internal linking.
So to put it simply, if I'm on the home page, it directs me to the services page or the about page. If there's like a little section that says learn more about me, you click it and then it takes you to the about page of the same website.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with that, it helps with SEO, but it also provides value to the audience or the prospects that you're going with, right? So if you have a blog post, this would be kind of like a call to action. So you have internal links like at the bottom that directs to different blog posts dynamically, but you also can have like a call to action. So if we're talking about this 5 ways to increase traffic to your website, and then we have a call to action at the bottom that shoots you off to our services page for social media management or for website development, where you can learn more. It adds value to you. It adds value to us because hopefully you convert into a client, right? But yeah, it adds value. And if people are clicking it, Google recognizes that and say, hey, people are staying on this page longer. They're going through different web pages on this website. And it helps you rank higher in Google.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so, for example, right now I'm working with somebody and she has like a total of 30 pages on her website. And it was really hard for her because she had so much content, which is very rare, mind you.
Yeah.
And she didn't know how to organize it on the top level navigation bar, so home, about, services, because there were so many pages. And so the biggest thing we found helpful for people was if you go to her about page, it talks about the certain things that she does within her company. So keynote speaking, and then it goes into a call to action about signing up for her newsletter. And that is really helpful with her internal linking system because it's not all crowded at the top of the navigation bar. And it makes sense for the outside reader, like, hey, I know how to navigate this website, and it's not like I have no idea where to go when it's done right.
Yeah.
When it's done right, it feels supernatural. Like, you don't want a call to action about your story specifically on like the blog. Well, I shouldn't say blog page. I would say like a service detail page. Like, that doesn't make sense. So you want to make sure that your things are placed very strategically. So when somebody outside of your company comes, they won't get confused on where to go.
Yeah. So you have to play to the audience and where they are in their phase, right?
Right.
So for us, if you're going to like the homepage, it's probably because you are just getting aware of us. So with that, it's probably content about us as a company, some of our clients and things like that, and then some of the services that we offer. With that, that's more so top of the funnel. So you have the awareness, and chances are you was brought there by social media or podcast or the YouTube link or video and stuff like that. But if you're going to like the service page, that's higher intent. So that's probably like consideration phase, if we're putting everything simply, right? So if you go to the consideration phase, you go to the website, you probably land on the homepage, but you're like, okay, I already know about this brand. I don't care about all of this stuff. I'm looking specifically for social media management. So top level, that's probably going to be under services and then social media management. And then from there, you get the spiel of, hey, this is what we do for this. This is our process. And at the bottom, it's a call to action saying contact. And then at the bottom of the funnel, conversion, you're not looking for info on the services.
Fluff.
Yeah, you're basically just like, hey, where's the phone number, or where do I fill out a contact form? So you'll probably go to the contact form page. So yeah, it's incredible how simple some of this stuff is, but how complex it can be. But how powerful it can be as well, because if we have 100 or 200 people going to the contact page and we're only getting 50% conversion, I say only, like that's not incredible. And we're only getting 50% conversion. You can look at that and say, okay, this is a super high intent page. Why are people not converting? And you can drill down on that data. And either revamp the page or look at different benchmarks and see what's the conversion rate on a contact page to see if you're within that benchmark. Because sometimes it may not be increasing conversion to 100% isn't realistic, but it may just be driving more people to that page to convert more people.
Right.
But yeah.
No, for sure. And like, it gets so different just because with so many different things that we do here at Revision, we have EntreNetwork, we have Young Creatives, we have all of our services. And so making sure as a whole they understand that top level we're Revision Marketing Group. So when they click on the Young Creatives page on our Instagram, let's say, it's still under the Revision site. And they'll be like, oh, this is a marketing company? Okay, like, what the heck? And so from there, they can use the internal links to go elsewhere throughout our page and look at all that stuff. But
yes. So with the overall podcast, it was birthed from us trying to express ourselves as young creatives and as entrepreneur and all of these things, and also provide value to the people that we serve, which is small business owners and young people, and just trying to promote awareness, to what we're going through, what we're going through, and get knowledge from different people on different topics, and provide some kind of platform. But on the other side of it, it also creates brand awareness to the individual brands, which is EntreNetwork and Young Creative. But all of that also feeds back into Revision Marketing Group, where you're pushing all of this awareness, and it plays into your overall content strategy, where you don't have to. It's really just all about value. So who's the target audience? How much value can we push to them, and build awareness?
Absolutely.
Because only a handful of people are going to actually convert. So the biggest thing is awareness, and filling up that top of the funnel and let people flow down naturally. So it's not salesy. It's providing value for us first,
Yes.
because that's where it kind of came from. But in turn, we provide value to the people who come on a podcast, along with people who walked in their shoes or trying to walk in their shoes. So it's all full circle.
Yes, very, very much so, full circle.
So thank you guys so much for coming. Well, thank you. Thank you, Mikayla, for coming on the EntreNetwork podcast. This was incredible, as always, talking to you. And thank you guys for listening in, watching in, and reading in, if it's a blog post as well.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
Multi-purpose and content. It's the
You have
best
to.
thing you can do.
Yeah.
But
All right. See you guys next week.
peace.
Thank you.